welcome to the second webinar of Agri-Forces. The first one was by Colonel Manish Ahuja from PRESSPL, and today we have Lieutenant Colonel Arvind Rawat, who is going to give his presentation on the organic farming and the biodynamics. Colonel Arvind Rawat did his schooling from Dogra Regimental Center, Meerut, and was an alumni of Deshbandhu College, Kalkaji. He got commissioned in 7th Battalion of Kumaon Regiment. He served for 23 years in the Army, out of which 12 years in the Army Aviation. He has the experience of 1,500 hours of captain's flying and 2,500 hours of service flying. Colonel Rawat took retirement in June 2019 and started Asaf Organics as one of the founder members and only working partner. Asaf means the essence. It's an extract obtained from a plant or a fruit, giving an intrinsic character to the plant. Asaf Organics believes in growing chemical-free and healthy food, creating an environmentally responsible ecosystem and giving it back to the mother nature. They are the producers of organic vegetables, fresh produce, organic pulses, grains, and also into organic processed food. They are doing it in 10 acres of land in Haridwar district near Saharanpur. So let's hear about this organic farming from Colonel Arvind Rawat. Over to you, Colonel Rawat.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very thankful to Colonel Mohanty sir for...
I'm sure we found 88, so is 88 the...
Yeah, go ahead, Anita.
Yeah, please carry on. We can hear you.
Yeah. So I'm thankful to you, Colonel Mohanty sir, for considering me for doing the presentation on the biodynamics part of the organic farming. And as Colonel Mohanty has mentioned, I took premature retirement in Jan 2019, and thereafter we have started our project in April 2019. We have been doing this farming in near Biharigarh, which is in between Saharanpur and Dehradun. And earlier we were focusing majorly on the vegetables part because we wanted to challenge ourselves for making the supply and demand of vegetables. But now we have got into grains, millets, pulses, and other grains too. And also the oil products also. So let me get started with my presentation part. Before that, anybody would like to answer anything, or anybody who would like to interrupt in between can let me know in between so that I may be able to answer the individual queries. So may I have the controls for putting in the presentation?
Professor Swarup, kindly give him the control, please.
Hello, sir can share now.
Sorry, sir.
Sir, you can share your screen now.
Just give me 2 minutes.
Yes, we can see it now.
Right. So again, gentlemen, good evening, and Welcome to my presentation on biodynamic farming, which has been followed by us of Organics in Letter and Spirit. I have learned about this farming from, there's a lady which is known as Mrs. Shah, Benita Shah. She has been the head of the organic board in Dehradun. She is a wife of an army officer, Colonel Negi, and also a daughter of an army officer, that is Karan Shah. He was from the Corps of Signals. Presently, she is based in Dehradun, and I'm learning things from her only as of now also. So before I commence the biodynamic farming part, I'm sure people are following the organic farming and they would surely like to know what is the difference between the biodynamic farming. So in the first part, I will be covering about that. And then in the second part, I'll be talking something about the origin, from where the concept started, what was the concept like, what do we mean by the biodynamic, what are the components of biodynamic farming which we are using presently, that is the BD compost, BD preparations, the planting calendar, the cosmic rhythms, what we call, something about the seed, another practices which are otherwise not part of the biodynamics, but we have been using doing the organic farming, that is the companion planting and green manuring. So we'll be talking about all these aspects. Coming to the biodynamic farming, as you are able to see on the slide also, biodynamic versus organic. Organic farming is a practice in which we are not using pesticides, herbicides, or GMO organisms. Whereas the biodynamic farming is a step above organic farming by working with the life forces of Mother Nature to heal the earth and grow nutrient-dense foods without the use of chemicals. It is a holistic approach which combines the connection between the farmers, soil, plants, animals, and the cosmos. The BD farmers strive to reduce the volume of imported materials to the farm in favor of working with the farm's own resources, which include water and the biodiversity. That means to say that we are not allowed to bring in anything from the outside to the farm, as well as we will not be sending anything out from the farm also, and we will be consuming everything, whatever is there, whatever waste is also being generated, that will be consumed within the farm itself. Biodynamic creates an environment so full of vitality that plants and animals are better equipped to protect themselves from disease and predatory insects. So that's why we hardly use any type of pesticides or insecticides. Now, what is the difference? If we see the broadly, if we talk about the composting material, organic allows you to non-self-contained composting materials, they allow you to do so. But in biodynamic, we use only self-composting composting materials. In organic, outside fertilizer, organic fertilizers are allowed, but in biodynamics, we use only compost. In insecticides, organic allows synthetics are permitted, whereas we are dependent on the soil humus only. In organic, use of plastics is permitted for irrigation, mulching, and packaging, whereas in biodynamics, plastics is not permitted. So from where did this biodynamic part of farming started? As you're aware, in 1922, after the World War, the farmers had approached Dr. Rudolf Steiner for, he was to advise a crisis which was happening in agriculture after the World War I. The concerned farmers noticed that there is an increased degeneration of seed strains in many cultivated crops. And the question was, what can be done to check this decline and to improve the quality of seed and the nutrition? Another group also went to Dr. Steiner and said that there was a lot of increase in animal diseases, with problems of sterility and the widespread foot and mouth disease high on the list. Then there were also questions which were dealing with the ethnic nature of plants and formative forces in general. Based on this, Dr. Steiner took an agriculture course which was held from June 7 to 16, 1924. These lectures are also available on the Amazon Kindle also. You will be able to read these 7 to 8 lectures are there by Dr. Rudolf Steiner. In the agriculture course, Rudolf Steiner set forth the basic new way of thinking about the relationship of earth and soil to the formative forces of nature. He pointed out that the health of soil, plants, and animals depends upon bringing nature into connection with the cosmic, creative, and shaping forces. The practical method he gave for treating soil, manure, and compost, and especially for making biodynamic compost preparation, was intended above all to serve the purpose of reanimating the natural forces which in nature and in modern agriculture were on the decline. So these were the solutions which has been given by him, which was changed over to the principles of the biodynamics. So what does this mean? As you're aware that it is composed of two words, which is bio, that means life, and dynamos, which means energy. It refers to agriculture science that recognizes basic principles at work in nature and applies this knowledge to the life forces to bring about balances and healing in the soil. So whereas in the organic farming, there is nothing which has been talked about the healing in the soil and to maintain the balances, the biodynamic talks about the healing of the soil also. It is a method of farming that aims to treat the farm as a living system, which interacts with the environment to build healthy living soil and to produce food that nourishes, vitalizes, and helps to develop the humanity. The ideal of the biodynamic economy is the management cycle management, which says farmer will hold as many animals, the number as well as type also, as he can feed with his land. Their dung and its diversity ensures high soil fertility, which will produce the best food for humans. With the help of biodynamic preparations, producer arranges natural processes, thus the farm becomes a unique organism. That is a living system in which each organ component needs other man, that is plant, animal, and soil will work together. So what were the features of the ideal biodynamic farm? That it will be a self-sustaining for manures and animal fodder. That means the manures are not required to be bought from outside, as well as the animal fodder, because same will be grown within the farm itself. In the biodynamics, if you see, there is a rotation of crops which is there, in which the animal fodder is also among the 6 rotations. One of the rotation is of animal fodder also, which you need to grow. Benefits and is in harmony with the nature rather than the exploiting. A mixed and diverse farm, that is the right balance of animal and crops, has to be maintained. Recycling has to be there within the farm, and that means to say we have to avoid the wastage. We have to use the very, very safe pest control methods, and we need to apply the BD preparations, which I'll be talking about further. So the first and foremost, which we'll talk about is in which the biodynamics is basically first dependent is the biodynamic compost. In the slide which you can see in front of you, on the left-hand side, you can see a biodynamic compost that has been made in our farm. And the second is just a rough diagram that how it comes up. So ideal biodynamic compost is approximately 15 feet long, 5 feet high, and 5 feet in the width. And as you can see it in this sketch, which is there on your right-hand side, there are 4 to 5 layers which has been used while making the biodynamic compost. So perhaps we have been talking about the biodynamic compost, but first we need to see that why we are required to make a compost when the farm yield manure is available to us. But the biodynamic is not considering the farm yield manure for doing the farming. Farm yield manure, that is the cow dung or another waste collected in a pit, it is collected over a period of 6 to 9 months, which we can generally see that is what is happening in a normal agriculture practices. Decaying happens in the heap is an anaerobic decomposition. It generates toxic gases and pathogens. If you see in any type, whenever you go to a village or anybody who's doing the composting, generally what they are doing is they are making a pit and putting everything inside that. That is the cow manure, the cow dung has been put over that, and thereafter they keep on dumping it with some of the other things, in which the air is not going, and the decomposition which is taking place is totally anaerobic, which when you can see the slide, that it generates toxic gases and pathogen. And because of this type of thing, the decomposition is also not uniform, and a lot of portion remains undecomposed or half decomposed. What are the harmful effects of this FIM? It contains a lot of weed seeds, which can create a weed problem later on when we are going to do the farming. And long time pile FIM may contain larvae of dung beetle, which feeds on fresh white roots of crops, thereby reducing the nutrient uptake capability of the plants. Now, what then if not that, then what is the solution? The composting is the solution as per the biodynamics. What are the benefits? It improves the soil structure and texture, enriches the soil fertility, reduce the environmental risk as it is not releasing any pathogens in the environment. Composting processes generate heat, which drives off the excess moisture, destroy pathogens and weeds. Now, what is the process? The process is composting has to be done above the ground for proper aeration, and consumption of oxygen will generate heat to raise the temperature 55 to 70 degrees centigrade. Temperature building up will take in the similar manner as we cook the food in the kitchen. 5 layers are to be made, that is 2:3 for green and dry. The layers are the ground, the first layer is of dry, then green, then dry, then green, and then dry. Cow dung and cow urine are used after every layer. BD 502 to BD 506 to be added on third layer, and BD 507 on the top layer. I'll talk about them a little later. Every layer has to be 1 feet high, and the total size will become 15 feet by 5 feet by 5 feet. Watering has to be done every 5th day. And if your BD compost is lying outside and due to the rains and all, if it is wet, then you need not. But if it is, you need to press the BD compost, and if you see that there is no water which is coming out of it, then it is all right. Otherwise, you need to water it every 5th day. And the turnaround, you have to do it after 28 days. Now, let me just explain it to you a little bit more in detail. Once you start doing the biodynamic compost, the first layer will be of the wooden pallets and wooden shrimps, wooden tugs and all, which will allow the compost to be a little bit in air so that the good cooking can take place. Thereafter, first you will be putting up the dry layer. Thereafter, you will be using the cow dung, which is around a ½ inch layer or an inch or 2 inch layer. Thereafter green, thereafter again cow dung layer, thereafter again dry, again cow dung. In the third layer, you will be using BD 502 to 506. Thereafter again green layer and top layer. When you finish the top layer, and after that, when you put on the last layer, when you put the cow dung on top of it, thereafter you have to spray BD 507 on the top layer, thereby making a heap of total 15 feet by 5 feet by 5 feet. Because the cooking is taking place only inside and the outer portion is not getting cooked, that's why you are required to do a turnaround after 28 days. After 28 days, when you see that the cooking has taken place properly, and when you try to see the condition of the biodynamic compost, if you find it is all right, then the outside layer has to be brought inside and the inside layer has to be brought outside, so that now the cooking can take place on the outside layer also, and they can be mixed up properly. So this was about the biodynamic composting. Now, as I was mentioned about to you, there are biodynamic preparations also there. What are the biodynamic preparations which we are using for the farming? There is a BD which is known as BD 500, which is also called the horn manure. It is made of a cow manure that is we use fermented in a cow horn that is buried in the soil for 6 months through autumn and winter. That means from October to April. What we do is we take a cow horn in which we fill up the cow dung, which is a fresh cow dung which we use from a cow who is under lactation. Thereafter, we keep it in this horn and keep it for the month of 6 period. We keep bury it in a soil which is around 1 feet deep. And then thereafter, it is taken out in the month of April and is being used. And it is used as a soil spray to stimulate the root growth and the humus formation. In the similar manner, there is another preparation which is known as BD 501, that is biodynamic 501. In this, rather than the cow dung, we are using silica. Silica has been used by taking it from the glass. It is taken out from the quartz, which is packed inside a cow horn and buried in a soil for 6 months through spring and summer, and applied it as a foliar spray to stimulate and regulate the growth. The other preparations which are used during in the BD compost are BD 502 to BD 507. The names, the main ingredient of that, you can see it on the list, as well as you can see what they are helping in. Just like 502 is basically a product of yarrow blossom. It helps in processes of potassium and sulfur elements. And same way you can see the other BD preparations also. There is another BD preparation which is known as the BD 508. They are prepared from silica-rich hostile plant and use a foliar spray to suppress the fungal diseases in plants. The biodynamic preparations are intended to help moderate and regulate the biological process, as well as enhance and strengthen the life forces on the farm. These preparations are used in homeopathic quantities, meaning they produce an effect in extremely diluted amount. As an example, 1/60 of an ounce, that is a teaspoon, is used for a controlled preparation to add 7 to 10 piles of compost. Just a minute, so there is a issue. So these are the preparations which we are presently using. These are provided to us by one of the company over here who are selling these preparations. So what you can see over here, this is a BD 502 to 507, which has been put together. This Divya is a BD 501 preparation. This Shakti is a BD 501 preparation. And this is a Supa Urja, which we are using for the insecticide and pesticides preparations. Till now, if anybody has got any questions or anything anybody would like to ask, you may please put up your questions now. So that thereafter I'll go to a little long topic, which is a planting calendar or the cosmic rhythms.
See, Arvind, how is it different from the vermicompost? Like, yes, we are using the vermi in this. Like, looking at the end product, have you carried out any kind of comparison of normal compost, vermicompost, and this biodynamic compost?
Sir, in the vermicompost also, actually, you are using the microorganisms for doing the composting part. Whereas in this, we are not using any microorganism for doing the composting for us. Second thing is in the vermicompost also, it is packed from all the sides. So the proper aeration is not taking place. Basically, you are depending on the microorganisms or the bacteria to do, or the basically the Quechua to do the things for you. Whereas in our case, it is totally a natural process in which it has been done, the things has been done in total natural manner, and we are not using any microorganism for doing the composting for us. In this composting, what happens is, sir, on the 9th day, temperature reaches to 55 to 70 degrees centigrade, which ensures that the proper cooking of the things are taking place. And at that temperature, there is no bacteria or fungi which is there, which can remain alive. And so that we know that the item which we are having is literally pure and not having any weed issues or any problems, sir.
Yeah, understood. Thanks.
Anybody else? Anybody else? If not, sir, should I continue forward?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Please tell about that green and dry layers. What are they being used? That is a grass and the dry grass?
Sir, the brown layer, the green layer is the green leafy shrubs or anything which you can put it on there. Other than the proper trees, branches you cannot put, but green leaves or anything which is green, whether it is a weed or whether it is anything, you can put it over there. but they should be cut into small pieces. They should not be there with their complete thing so that the burning takes place efficiently. Whereas in the dry, it can be anything. Like I have been using the bajra waste which has been dried up. I've been using that by I take that thing out. Thereafter, I'll use the chara machine to cut it into smaller, shred it into smaller pieces, and then using it as a dry. Even you can use other things also for a dry. That is a wood wood waste. Also, you can use it as a dry packaging.
Got it, sir. Thanks.
Right. So now after the BD compose, let me get into the main topic of the biodynamics, that is the planting calendar oblique the cosmic rhythms. This is a very interesting and very different part. What it is different from the organic farming, which we very effectively use in the biodynamics. The planting calendar which we use is basically about the rhythms, that is the cosmic, solar, lunar, and moon rhythms and earthly rhythms. It is an aid to our conscious and purposeful participation in these rhythms. These are the rhythms that sustain all life on Earth, and biodynamic farmers are striving to bring life back into the soil using these rhythms. This can be accomplished when the rhythms of our farming activities are aligned with the natural, cosmic, and earth rhythms. So this is the basic principle of using these rhythms in the biodynamics. So there are 6 types of moon rhythms which we are going to talk about. That is from full moon to new moon, moon opposite Saturn, ascending and descending moon, moon nodes, apogee and perigee, and moon in zodiac constellations. Talking about the full moon and new moon, majority of us knows there are majorly 4 phases of the moon. That is the new moon, that is the first quarter, second half moon, and there is a fourth quarter, and thereafter there's a full moon. These rhythms we can see. It begins at the new moon when the moon is closer to the sun and almost invisible to us. As the moon moves away from the sun, we see it more clearly, and first is a slender, very beautiful crescent in the sky. In over 7 days, it reaches the first quarter, when the moon disk is half bright and half dark, something like this. First quarter is followed by full moon, which is about 12 times as bright as the first quarter. Then comes the last quarter, when the other half is also illuminated like this. And after approximately 29.5 days, the rhythm begins again. So this is the rhythm which is there. Now, what are the effects of this? Based on the agricultural lectures of Rudolf Steiner and subsequent scientific research, biodynamic agriculture recognizes the following new moon and full moon influences. First, the element most affected by the moon energy is water, that is the sap in plants. In 48 hours leading up to full moon, there appears a distinct increase in moisture content of the earth. This growth forces a plant seem to be enhanced. So that's why generally what we try to do is whenever we plan the sowing, we generally plan 48 hours before the full moon. Any sapling generation which we need to do, or if we are planning to put the nursery, that we generally try to do 48 hours before the full moon. This is one of the best days which we use for to do the plantation. During the full moon period, there is a quick germination of seeds, fast plant growth, and a rapid regrowth of any cut, mown, or pruned vegetation. There appears to be a quicker cell division and a tendency to elongation of growth. Seed germination is fast, but may be soft and prone to fungus attack, particularly in warm conditions and high humidity, which is very much prevalent in our country during the summertime. The influence of the full moon appears to provide favorable conditions for the growth of fungus on all plants. This is related to increase of moisture and humidity. So that's why we are not taking full moon day for sowing of our plants, whereas we are taking 48 hours before the full moon for doing our plantation. There is an increase in insect activity also, particularly slugs and snails and internal worm parasites in human and animals during the full moon. That's why when we are using the pesticides and insecticides for doing the farming, which are made in the biodynamic manner, so during the full moon time, we try to do all the spray on the leaves or the on the lower side of the leaves, so that because we know that the sap is on the top, and this is a place where all the insect activities are going to take place. The full moon influence allows a good absorption of liquid manure. That is why also we ensure whatever spray we are doing on, it generally happens on the full moon day. Towards new moon, more activity is underground in the soil, and the flow of sap in plant is also less strong. Therefore, good time for turning under green manure. And this is also the time during the new moon, as we know the sap is on the down below. Whatever sprays we are carrying out, those biodynamic sprays which we are carrying out on the root section rather than on the leaf section, because we understand that the sap is at its lowest level. Now, this was the one phase. Now, the another is moon opposite Saturn. As you know, the moon and Saturn in our Hindu this thing also, they are brothers to each other. The moon and Saturn are on opposite side of Earth, and their respective forces are raying into Earth from opposite directions. The moon forces bring in the calcium processes, that is, it provides the earthly connected to propagation and growth. The Saturn brings in the silica processes, that is cosmic, connected to the building up of substance or bulk of the plant in root, leaf, and fruits. The balancing effect of these two influences streaming into Earth produces very strong plants from seed sown at this time. A strengthening effect is also observed when transplanting seeds during moon opposite Saturn. So that's why this is the second best day which we use for carrying out our planting of the seeds and all. So we have 2 days in a month in which they are the best days for doing our sapling generation as well as putting on the nursery. That is 48 hours before the full moon and when the moon is opposite the Saturn. The spraying of BD501, which is a horn silica at this time, has been found to strengthen plant to extent that they can resist plant disease and certain insect attacks also. This was the second rhythm. Now the third rhythm, which is the ascending and descending moon. The moon's daily path across the sky as seen from the Earth is not always the same. Sometimes it is higher in the sky and sometimes it is lower. The moon takes only 27.3 days to complete the journey through the zodiac constellations in an ascending and descending rhythm. Each month, each ascending and descending period lasts about 2 weeks. We see the moon moving in an arc from east to west and see these arcs getting higher in the sky. This is called the ascending phase. When we see the arc of the moon path getting lower every day, the moon is called in the descending phase. Now, what are its impacts? The Earth as a living organism with an inhaling and exhaling breathing rhythm similar to ours, the ascending and descending moon periods correspond with the inhaling and exhaling cycle of the Earth also. So if we talk about the planetary birth, Earth also breathes in when the Earth forces are active. Earth breathes out when the light forces are active. Earth breathes in during the cool season and breathes out during the hot season. In a month, if we want to talk about it, Earth breathes during the descending moon and breathes out during the ascending moon. And daily, Earth breathes in during the late afternoon, evening hours and breathes out during the early morning hours. Now, what are the effects of this ascending and descending moon? The descending period is related to the activity below the soil surface and can be compared with the cool or cold season of the air. The Earth breathes in and draws growth forces back down below the soil surface. The lower part of the plant, especially the roots, are activated. This is also the time for cultivation, composting, planting, and making cuttings. So these 4 activities we try to carry out when the moon is in a descending phase. The ascending period is like the warm or the hot season. The Earth breathes out. We see this is an outpouring of growth activity above the soil surface. Growth forces and saps flow upwards more strongly and fill the plants with vitality. Although germination takes place below the ground, it also takes parts in this upward striving. So Certain activities we carry out during the descending period, and certain activities we are carrying out during the ascending period. Now, this is the fourth activity. What we are seeing is moon nodes. When we know that as it ascends and descends, the moon crosses the path of the sun. The crossing points are called nodes, and they are the only places and times where eclipse can occur. So these are the two places where they are crossing the path of the sun. The moon makes one complete nodal cycle in every 27.2 days. So there is a node approximately every 14 days, which is 2 nodes every month. The influence of the node lasts for approximately 6 hours before and after the exact time of crossing. So whenever a node is taking place, we do not carry out any activity before the 6 hours of that node when it's happening, and also 6 hours after the node. The moon, while crossing in front of the sun, will negate the sun's beneficent influence for this brief period, and this negative influence will work into the soil being freshly cultivated at the time of the node. Therefore, biodynamic farmers do not cultivate the soil, sow any seeds, transplant, prune trees or shrubs, or do any other agriculture or horticulture work during the node days. Apogee and perigee. The moon moves around the earth in an ellipse, completing the full orbit in 27.5 days. I'm sure you will be reading it that everywhere it has been written differently. Generally, it is 27.3 days. Perigee, when the moon is nearest to the point Earth. Apogee is when the moon is furthermost. There is only one perigee and one apogee every month. Researchers and farmers have found out that apogee appears to be a good time to plant the potatoes, as there seems to be a multiplicity of the form, meaning more potatoes. Whereas at perigee, there are fewer potatoes, but they are bigger in size. At perigee, moon is closest to the earth. It will bring greater moisture to the earth and tendency towards fungus growth and insect attack. This is especially so when perigee occurs near the full moon, which brings more moisture. So apogee and perigee times bring a stress period, and seed sowing should be avoided 12 hours on either side of these times. So I would like to emphasize here that last year during the time of the apogee, I have planted the potatoes specifically for this purpose, and the taste and the quality of potatoes were absolutely fantastic when I did the plantation. They were not of the quantity was not there, but the sizes were great and it tastes absolutely fantastic. Now, the third part is this is the important part about the constellations. This is one of the last things in the rhythms. The zodiac is a belt of fixed stars that are in grouping called as constellations. The belt of stars lies behind the elliptic path of the sun, which we are all aware of. All the planets and moon move in front of the constellations. Constellations are of different size. Moon stands in front of each for some time, that is approximately 1.5 to 3.5 days, based on the size of the constellation. Influences of constellations are passed on, reflected by the moon through our 4 classical elements of nature, that is fire, air, water, and earth. So if we talk about these constellations, we have 4: earth, water, air, and light, or fire. These are the signs or the constellation signs which they are affecting. That is, earth is affecting Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Water is affecting Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Air is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, and fire is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So because of which the earth is related to root, water is related to leaf, air is related to flowers, and fire is related to fruit and seed. So what does it mean? It means that during the constellation element of earth, it is affecting the root crop. So this is the ideal time to sow the root crops, that is carrot, radish, garlic, potato, onion, and other tuber crops. During the constellation element water, the main effect is on leaf. So we should be putting on the leaf crop for sowing, that is cabbage, spinach, grass, and fodder crops. During the constellation element of air, we should be doing the flowering plants. So we can either do flowers as such, or in vegetables, we can use cauliflower and broccoli. During the fire sign, the effect is on seed and fruit plants. So fruit seeds like fruits, pulses, seedy vegetables like tomato, chili, and also plants require seed development. So if tomorrow we are planning to use the fenugreek or methi, if we want to use it for the seed purposes, then we'll be sowing it during the fire sign. But if we wanted to consume it as a leafy thing, then we need to do it during the water sign. So sowing of the crop has to be done based on what type of product we are planning to use out of it. That is the main purpose of these constellation elements. So just a minute here, just there's an issue. So if you see, this is the time, this is the way the biodynamic calendar comes into play. This is a small calendar which is showing only you the dates and all. This is the way the thing comes in. So if you see, like today's date, today is the 21st, it's a Saturday. So it shows that the flower day at 22, 28. So if we want to do a flower crop, anything which is related to flower, either it is a sowing of a flower, then we should ideally start sowing at after night 22 hours 28 minutes. That is the time which we need to sow it. Yes, if we cannot sow it during that time, so we can plan it for the next day morning. So this is the same way. On 24th morning, that the leaf day will start at 8:54. So if we want to sow any leaf crop now on, we should ideally be sowing it on 24th of November after 9 o'clock. We also need to see, for getting the better results, we should ideally sow the crop at the earliest, so it should stay maximum duration in its zodiac. So if like flower day is starting from it is there on 22nd also, it is 23rd also, and 24th also till 9 o'clock. If I have to sow the flower crop, ideally I should try to sow as much as possible earlier by 22:30, so that it should be maximum time in its zodiac and the maximum effect it will be there on that. Like I mentioned about the node, so just like this node is there at 0809 hours, so that means on this date from morning 2 o'clock till afternoon 2 o'clock, I should actually not be carrying out any agriculture activity. Now, this is the day when the moon opposite Saturn is there at 6:23. So this is the best time for doing my sowing of my plantation if I want to do it at morning 6 hours and 23 minutes. Same goes, moon is perigee at 17:18. So if we see a 12-hour gaps, that means this day actually moon perigee, I should not be carrying out any plantation of mine other than the plantation of the potatoes. The new moon is at 10:37 hours. So that means to say, if the moon is if the new moon is happening in the morning at 10:37, that means from that day morning, that day itself properly, it should be we should not be carrying out any agricultural activities over here. So this is the way we read the biodynamic calendar and follow it in for carrying out our agriculture practices. So how does whatever activities or whatever things have been suggested, how do we carry them out as per the rhythms? So what are the activities which are connected with full moon? It is, if we are talking about the 48 hours before full moon, we sow seeds at times of low humidity and warmth, apply liquid manures, including the cow pit pad, which is another product which we use during the biodynamic farming. Fungus control, we should spray the BD preparations 508 horsetail TD5 for the potency. We should carry out insect control, that watch out for chewing and sucking pests, because we know that during the full moon, the sap will be completely on the top level and the chewing and sucking pests will be coming onto the plants. So we use a garlic, ginger, chili pepper spray or natural distinct neem oil or stinging nettle together with 5% cow urine for carrying out the controlling the pests. What are the activities connected with new moon? No sowing of seeds and no agricultural work to be done during the new moon days. Activity connected with moon opposite Saturn. When the moon opposite Saturn is there, germination and soak seed 48 hours before moon opposite Saturn so that we can commence the sowing on that particular day. Sowing and transplanting activity should be carried out on the day when the moon is opposite the Saturn. We should spray the BD preparations 501 in the very early morning hours of the day or the day before the opposition to strengthen plants against the fungus. We should spray BD 501 at this time to improve purity and the taste of all fruits and vegetables. What are the activities connected with the ascending moon? During the ascending moon, what all activities we can carry out? We can cultivate the appropriate constellation the day before sowing, sow all seeds, spray BD preparations, harvest the following on air constellation day, that is on the day of Aquarius or Gemini, that is fruit and vegetable not having roots, plant for making medicines, flowers and plants for biodynamic preparations, and fodder for animals. What all activities we can carry out during the descending moon? Spray BD preparations 500 in the afternoon, that's when the soil should be warm, make and spread compost, transplant seedlings and trees, cultivate soil, harvest root crops for storage on Earth Day, that is preferred a Virgo day, prune all fruit trees in appropriate season on a fire day, that is Leo or Sagittarius, prune flowering trees and shrub roses at appropriate season on air day, that is Gemini or Libra day. Activities connected with moon nodes, avoid activities 12 hours before and after the event, and activities connected with apogee and perigee, only sow potatoes, no activity 12 hours before and after the event. So with this, I come to the end of the second part, that is the rhythms. If anybody would like to ask any queries or any questions before I go on further.
Any queries, ladies and gentlemen? So Colonel Rawat, we can go ahead. Last 10 minutes we have. So yeah.
I hope I'm not too fast so people are not getting bored with the presentation per se, sir.
No, absolutely not. This is a very new thing, and we never knew that the plantations and the growth is related to the new moon and the full moon and the like the flight path. It's very interesting, and it's a nice topic.
So now these were the parts of the biodynamics, whatever we have covered now. Now there is something else which I have been using personally for using the pest control and a lot of other activities to reduce the pest. And we have a small discussion on this also in the network also when somebody posted something about the companion planting. The companion planting or the gardening agriculture is the planting of different crops in proximity for any number of different reasons, including pest control, pollination, providing habitat for the beneficial insects, maximum use of a space, and to otherwise increase the crop productivity. I have also been using this companion planting in my farm in my last year practice, and I had a phenomenal result. I really don't know whether it was because of companion planting or it happened naturally, but I take the credit that it was because of the companion planting, because I read the chart properly and I followed it in letter and spirit. So what are the mechanisms of companion planting? There are 3 or 4 reasons because of which the companion planting has been done. One is the provision of nutrient. That legumes such as clover and other legumes provide nitrogen compounds to other plants by fixing nitrogen from the air. So that's why if you see, if you try to read anywhere, you will read that the pea and the beans are to be put together because they are able to do the companion, because the pea being the legumes are able to provide the nutrition to the beans crop, which is being put together only. Trap cropping. Use alternative plants to attract pests away from the main crop. Just like last year, I used a nasturtium has been used by me for keeping the caterpillar from the cabbages. Wherever I have placed the cabbages in my farm, I have used nasturtium also in the proximity as well as in the on the boundaries. So I literally had no caterpillar problem in my cabbages. Pest suppression. The prevent pest insects, also pathogenic fungi from damaging the crop. That is, marigold is the one plant which can be used in many purpose, and it deters aphids in a absolutely effective manner. I did not have any aphids in my crop last year when I planted marigold in the complete periphery of my farm. Predator recruitment. Companion plant also produce nectar oblique pollen in a garden that help higher population of beneficial insect that control pests. Like marigold attract hoverflies, larvae of which are predators of aphids. So this is how the marigold is able to deter the aphids. Now, how do you read companion planting and how do we understand? This is only just some 3 examples I have picked up and generally the crop of this season, and just wanted to explain it to you that how it is being done. Beet is the vegetables. It helps broccoli. It helps bush bean, cabbage, lettuce, brassicas, and onion. So we have to understand from this table, the beet is helping them, and beet itself is helped by the garlic and mint. So that means to say, if we are using broccoli, bush bean, cabbage, lettuce, brassicas, and onion, we can, on periphery, we can use beet to be planted. And if there is a farm of beet where we are growing beet per se for our production purposes, then on periphery of it, for pest repellents and non, we can use garlic and mint. Then somehow it is not attract and repel or distract, but avoid pole bean. So if we are using beet somewhere, then we have to ensure that the pole bean should not be near around the beet, otherwise the damaging effect will take place. Now, if we come to the second example, broccoli. Broccoli is helping lettuce, but it is also being helped by mustard, beet, dill, onion, and tomatoes. Carrot, it helps tomatoes, beans, leek, lettuce, and onion. And it is held by sage, flax, and rosemary. Carrot attracts assassin bug, lacewing, and wasp. It repels leek moth and onion fly. So if it is repelling onion fly, that means we can, along with the carrot, we can try to put onion also. That's why it is written over here that this is helping onion, because it is able to deter the onion fly. And we should not put carrot in the proximity of dill, parsnip, and radish. So this is how the companion planting has to be read, and it has to be seen in total that what can be planted together with which plant. Right. So this was the companion planting. Anybody who's got any questions or anything they would like to ask before I come down to the next, that is the green manuring part? I have a complete chart of this thing which I can share with the other others in the group. So if somebody wants to have that, they can ask me the details of it. I'll surely try to send them that so that they will be able to utilize it effectively.
Yeah, Colonel Rawat, we have just 5 minutes left, if we
just a 5 minutes. I'll also have 5 minutes only.
Yeah.
So
no, if we can get into the questions answers mode, I think some clarification, some doubts the people can ask.
Right, sir. So my last part is the green manuring. This is also one of the important parts which I have followed in my farming cycle. That is growing a crop not for commercial purpose, but to recharge the fertility of the soil. It is grown up to flowering stage and then plowed down and mixed with soil after 40 to 50 days from the date of sowing. It added tons of green biomass and added to the soil. After having commercial crop of 4 seasons, de-stressing of soil is necessary. That's why green manuring should ideally be done after the 4 cycles of commercial crop. What crops we can use? These crops should be fast growing, short duration leguminous crop like dhecha and sunham, which is also known as sunny. Recently, we had some discussion about the same thing regarding the Berseem. Also, I mentioned one of the crops as Berseem, which I did last time for doing the green manuring. Another practice which some people try is that they use a combination of cereal millets, pulses, seeds, spice, and leafy in per acre. These type have different nutrition requirement, water requirement, plant and root structure, plant height and root depth. So therefore, it ensures good collection of elements from the different level of soils and assimilation of varied range of organic compounds for getting mulched into the mother earth. Now, in the seed production part of the biodynamics, biodynamic agriculture focuses on the open pollination of seeds. Farmers generally grow their own seeds and focuses more on local varieties rather than picking up varieties from some other places. In last, before I conclude, the biodynamic farm is not easily learned from a textbook, but it is better sense through experiencing it. And I have experienced it last year, and it was absolutely fantastic experience when I was taking my vegetables to a organic heart, which has been organized here by Mrs. Shah. People have a lot of appreciation and talked about a lot of taste which was there in our vegetables. It is more than a body of information. Farmer is considered a spiritual caretaker of the land, and ideally all the practices which of the sprays of doing all the activities should ideally be carried by the farmer himself rather than the labor. And I have done in my farm last year, and I have really found the difference in that. Farmer has direct experience of the rhythms of the season and intimate communication with the smallest of the organisms unseen in the soil to the largest of organisms, such as the farm itself. Biodynamic farming helps in rejuvenating the soil and ensure sustainability of the crop production and quality. With this, I come to the end of my presentation. If anybody would like to ask anything, they can ask.
So it was just totally a new topic as far as we are concerned. It was something very useful and it was a new knowledge. But at the same time, how can you do it on a larger scale since you said that you are doing it yourself? So the farm size and things like that. And can it be done for a commercial manner in which if you are planning to take some earning from the farm, or is it only for the self consumption?
No, sir. My project was a totally commercial project. Perhaps I've indicated a figure of around approximately 10 acres in which I was doing vegetables to Mohanty, sir. Otherwise, I was looking after the farm, which was around more than 25 acres. And I was doing all the practices on my own with my fellow laborers, sir. And it is possible. It is possible. It has a certification also, which is known as a Demeter, and people in these type of crops are very much favored in the Europe and America, and there is a lot of farmers who are practicing the same biodynamic farming in our region also, and they are sending the certified Demeter crop to the Europe and all. So the commercial thing is working on.
Thank you, sir. It's so nice information.
Colonel Rawat, are you exporting these products from your farmland?
Not as yet, sir. We have not reached that level as yet, but we have an intention of doing that within 3-4 years or so, as and when we'll be able to get our hands on, sir.
So producing it here in near Saharanpur. So who are your clients out there?
So generally we are using the vegetables in the Dehradun, because in Dehradun we are doing a heart every week, and also we are sending our vegetables as well as materials to Delhi also, to some of the stores.
So looking at this biodynamics and new technology, what you are using it, have you carried out any kind of a comparison, like somebody is going for a conventional method and the method which is being adopted by you? What's the kind of the productivity, like if it is that is X, so are you adding some productivity, like the products is more by 1.2x, 1.1x, or it's getting reduced with a better quality?
So maybe in the land where I was doing the farming, that was also conventional land, and since it was my first year of from changing over from conventional to organic, so my produced quantity was less, but I cannot say that it was because of the biodynamics. it may be because the conversion takes time and the crop production requires some time to get stabilized too. But I must tell you, in comparison to conventional or in comparison to organic also, the taste and the taste of our products was absolutely fantastic and different from others. It may take some time for us to stabilize because our practices may have also gone somewhere wrong. We were also new to this thing, so we also were taking some time, and certain we would have done some mistakes and all where we would not emphasize much. But I'm sure it is a good way when you see the things happening, and we really did not use any major pesticides, or we did not require any major pest control to save our crops. Our crops were doing absolutely fantastic. But yes, sometimes we did our sprays of biodynamic for carrying out the pest control.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, I think Colonel Rawat, there is no further question on this. But the best thing I like towards the end of your lecture is that the farmer is the spiritual caretaker of the land. And that's a very, very great saying of yours. Like we have to take care of it, like the kind of products and the kind of vegetables what we are taking nowadays. We are just taking the poison if we are not buying something organic and something which is being really taken care of. And you and we are the people who have to get it, like sensitize the people, sensitize the society, and start getting the right kind of vegetables and reduce the kind of disease what's happening here in the society now. Thanks a lot, and it's a lovely presentation, and we will share it in the group after 3-4 days time. Thank you so much, Colonel Arvind.
Thank you very much, sir, and thank you to all the participants who are there. I hope I am able to open some doors as well as open some thought process for changing over from organic per se to biodynamic, and it made the presentation had made some sense to you all.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you. We can close it now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend, all of you.
Same to you, sir.
Thanks.